I never imagined that betrayal could feel so quiet. You don't hear it coming. It doesn't knock. It seeps in, slow and sour, staining everything before you realize you've been breathing it in for months. We were a close-knit trio. Me, my partner Liam, and our mutual friend Dani. I used to joke that we were like a little found family. Dani had been there when Liam and I first met. She introduced us, in fact. Over the years, the three of us shared countless dinners, movie nights, weekends away. I considered her one of my closest friends. Trusted her implicitly. I trusted him too. I thought that was the foundation of everything we had built. It started with a gut feeling. Nothing concrete, had just an offhand comment Dani made that felt, to knowing, too sharp. Like she was repeating something she shouldn't have known. I laughed it off. I was probably being paranoid outright. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling. So one night, after Liam fell asleep on the couch, I opened his phone. I didn't want to. I hate snooping. But something inside me, something deep and unsettled, pushed my hands to move before I could talk myself out of it. It was all there, messages. Months of them. Long threads between him and Dani, filled with sarcasm, inside jokes, and casual cruelty about me. At first, I didn't understand what I was reading. My name popped up again and again. God, she's so dramatic. She got all emotional over nothing again. Seriously, I don't know how you deal with her. Dani would reply with laughing emojis or one-liners like, "You're a saint for putting up with her. Tell her to chill out." Honestly, sometimes it was subtler digs at my job, the way I dressed, how I talked about books too much or overthought everything, but it wasn't just teasing. It was mean. Dismissive. Unkind. And Liam. He never defended me. He played along. Sometimes he instigated it. "She's on one again tonight. Ugh," she cried during that dumb commercial. How am I dating a Hallmark movie? I stared at the screen, dumb. That phone felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. I kept scrolling, hoping to find a message where he told her to stop. Or even a "hey, don't say that about her," but there was nothing. Just more silence. More laughing at my expense. I put the phone down. My hands were shaking. I remember sitting on the bathroom floor, knees pulled to my chest, trying to make sense of what I'd just seen. It's one thing to be mocked by a stranger. It's another to be laughed at by the two people you trusted most in the world. When I finally confronted Liam, he didn't deny it. He didn't even look particularly ashamed. "It was just venting," he said. "You know Dani jokes like that. You're being too sensitive. Too sensitive." The same words I'd read in those messages. The ones they used to excuse their cruelty. I asked him one question: "Would you be okay if I talked about you that way with someone else?" He didn't answer. I left a week later. Packed a suitcase while he sat on the couch, silent, watching some show we used to enjoy together. I moved into my sister's spare bedroom with my things in trash bags and my heart in pieces. I didn't hear from Dani. Not even a text. She knew. She knew what she'd done. Or maybe she didn't care. The hardest part wasn't losing Liam. It wasn't even losing Dani. It was realizing that they were both capable of sitting next to me, smiling, hugging me goodbye, all while making fun of me behind my back. Laughing, bonding over their shared ridicule. It made me question everything, every compliment they'd ever given, every kind word, every moment that had once felt safe. Healing took time. It still does. I second-guess things more now, people's tone, their intentions. I'm not proud of that, but it's the truth. Trust doesn't rebuild itself overnight. But I've also learned something else, that the people who really love you don't laugh at you behind closed doors. They don't turn you into a joke. They don't find connection by tearing you down. Real love holds space for your flaws, your quirks, your emotions. Real friendship defends you when you're not in the room. Now, I surround myself with people who show up with honesty and kindness, not masks and whispered cruelty. And if that circle is smaller than it used to be, that's fine. Because it's real. And so am I. The days after I left Liam's apartment were some of the loneliest I had ever experienced. I kept replaying every moment, every smile, every word, every laugh, wondering if I had been living in a lie. How could the two people closest to me share such hurtful things in secret? The betrayal felt like a physical ache in my chest. I tried to reach out to Dani, hoping for some kind of explanation, some sign of remorse. But she never responded. It was as if I had vanished from her world overnight. That silence was its own kind of punishment. Slowly, I began to pick up the pieces of my life. I spent hours journaling, trying to understand my feelings and work through the pain. Therapy helped me see that their cruelty said more about their character than my worth. I realized that trust isn't a given, it's earned and protected. And I had the power to protect myself now. I focused on rebuilding my self-esteem, surrounding myself with people who genuinely cared. Old friends stepped forward, surprised and saddened by what I'd been through. Their support reminded me that I wasn't alone. Work became my refuge. Pouring myself into projects and accomplishments gave me a sense of purpose and confidence. For the first time in a long time, I was proud of myself. Eventually, I found myself open to the idea of new connections, not because I needed someone to complete me, but because I wanted to share my life with people who respected and valued me. The experience changed me. It made me stronger, more cautious, but also more compassionate. I learned to listen to my instincts, to set boundaries, and most importantly, to love myself fiercely. Now, when I think about Liam and Dani, I don't feel anger anymore. I feel gratitude that I discovered the truth before it was too late, and that I found the strength to walk away. Sometimes, the hardest betrayals lead us to the most profound growth. The healing wasn't linear. Some days, I felt like I was finally moving forward, laughing with friends, focusing on my goals, and rediscovering my passions. Other days, the weight of betrayal settled back onto my shoulders, a heavy reminder that the people I trusted most had hurt me the deepest. I remember one afternoon, sitting in a quiet cafe, staring out the window as the world moved on around me. I felt a sudden wave of loneliness crash over me, not just the absence of Liam and Dani, but the loss of the life I thought we shared. It was in that moment that I realized forgiveness wouldn't come overnight, nor would trust in others. But forgiveness for myself was possible. I had to stop blaming myself for their cruelty and remember that their actions were about their shortcomings, not mine. Slowly, I began to open my heart again. I reconnected with old friends who had always been there but who I had neglected. I made new friends who valued honesty and kindness. I rebuilt my life piece by piece, brick by brick, with the firm foundation of self-respect. I also started speaking out about my experience, not to shame Liam or Dani, but to reclaim my story and help others who might be going through something similar. Sharing my truth gave me strength, and I was amazed by how many people reached out to say, "Me too." As months turned into years, I found love again. This time, it was different. I wasn't desperate or afraid. I was whole. I was clear about my boundaries, and I refused to settle for anything less than respect and genuine care. Love became a partnership, not a competition or a battle. Looking back, the secret conversations that once tore me apart became a turning point, a painful lesson that led me to a better life. I learned that trust is sacred, and that it's okay to walk away when it's broken beyond repair. Most importantly, I learned to trust myself. And that, more than anything, changed everything. The new relationship wasn't perfect, no relationship ever is, but it was honest and respectful, built on mutual understanding rather than hidden agendas. With him, I felt safe to be myself without fear of judgment or ridicule. For the first time in years, I could laugh without looking over my shoulder. And I could speak without second-guessing if my words would be twisted behind my back. There were moments when my past crept in, like shadows trying to darken the light I had fought so hard to find. Sometimes, I'd catch myself hesitating to fully trust, to fully open up. But he was patient. He listened when I needed to talk, never rushed me to heal faster, and showed through his actions that I could lean on him. Together, we built rituals that grounded us: a morning coffee shared in quiet, a weekend hike in the woods, Late night talks that stretched until dawn. Those moments weren't flashy or grand, but they were real. They were proof that love could be steady, gentle, and kind. I also started giving back in ways I never imagined. Volunteering at a local women's shelter, I met people who had endured pain and betrayal far worse than mine. Their resilience inspired me, and sharing my story gave me purpose beyond my own healing. It was humbling and empowering to be part of a community that lifted each other up. Every now and then, I think about Liam and Dani not with anger, but with a quiet sense of closure. Their chapter in my life is closed, and I've moved on. The pain they caused is a scar, a reminder of what I survived and overcame. Today, I'm surrounded by people who cherish me, and I cherish myself. I've learned that true friendship and love don't come with secrets and insults. They come with respect, trust, and kindness. I don't know what the future holds, but I face it with open eyes and a strong heart. Because now, I know my worth, and I won't let anyone's hidden words or actions ever make me doubt it again. Time passed, and I found peace in the quiet rhythms of my new life. I wasn't rushing to prove anything or to fill empty spaces with distractions. Instead, I embraced solitude as a chance to deepen my relationship with myself. I began journaling every morning, capturing my thoughts, fears, and hopes. Writing became a mirror, reflecting my growth and reminding me how far I had come. It was a sacred ritual, a moment each day when I could be honest and gentle with myself. Occasionally, I thought about what I would say to Liam and Dani if I ever saw them again. Would I express anger, disappointment, or would I simply tell them I had moved on, that their words no longer held power over me? But in truth, I didn't need their acknowledgement or apology. I had already given myself the forgiveness and love they refused to offer. That was enough. In the end, the betrayal that once tore me apart became the catalyst for a new beginning, a beginning rooted in strength, self-respect, and hope. And as I walked forward, I carried with me the unwavering truth that I deserved better, not just from others, but from myself. Months turned into years, and with each passing day, I grew more certain of my own resilience. I learned to celebrate the small victories, waking up without the weight of anxiety pressing on my chest, laughing freely without fear, feeling genuinely happy in moments I once thought impossible. I rebuilt my social circle slowly but intentionally. I surrounded myself with people who uplifted me, who celebrated my successes without jealousy, and who accepted my flaws with grace. Those friendships became my safe harbor, a reminder that genuine connection exists even after heartbreak. Work flourished too. I pursued projects that challenged me, learned new skills, and finally started to see myself as capable and worthy beyond the labels I'd once internalized. Each accomplishment felt like a quiet rebellion against the doubt that had tried to consume me. Love re-entered my life in unexpected ways. Not a grand romance or fairy tale, but a steady, grounding presence as someone who valued communication, kindness, and trust as much as I did. With him, I felt seen, heard, and cherished. Most importantly, I learned to trust myself again. To listen to my instincts, to set boundaries, and to honor my own needs without guilt. That inner voice, once drowned out by doubt and betrayal, became my compass. Looking back, I realized that their secret conversations didn't just tear me apart, they set me on a path to rediscover my strength and worth. And for that, I am quietly grateful. Life isn't perfect, but it is mine, and I choose to live it authentically, bravely, and with an open heart. Years have passed since that painful chapter closed, and I still carry its lessons with me every day. The scars remain, but they've transformed from wounds into marks of strength, proof of a battle fought and survived. I no longer see myself as a victim but as a survivor who reclaimed her story. Sometimes, when I'm alone, I reflect on how far I've come. The woman who once doubted her worth, who questioned every smile and word, has become someone who stands tall with quiet confidence. I've built a life filled with honesty, kindness, and connection, the very things I once thought I'd lost forever. I've learned that trust is a precious gift, not to be given lightly. But I also learned that it starts with trusting yourself, your instincts, your feelings, your worth. That trust has opened doors I never imagined, leading me to friendships and love that nourish my soul rather than tear it apart. And though the pain of betrayal will always be part of my story, it no longer defines me. Instead, it has become the soil from which my resilience grows, the dark that makes my light shine brighter. So here I am, living fully, loving deeply, and embracing the imperfect, beautiful journey of life. Because I've learned that even after the deepest betrayals, it's possible to heal, to grow, and most importantly to trust again, as the years continue to unfold. I found new passions and ambitions blossoming within me, things I'd buried beneath the weight of heartbreak and distrust. I took classes in creative writing, something I'd always wanted to explore but never felt worthy enough to pursue. Pouring my emotions onto the page became cathartic, a way to transform pain into art, vulnerability into strength. I also started volunteering at local community centers, helping others who had faced their own struggles with trust and betrayal. Hearing their stories, witnessing their courage, reminded me that I wasn't alone. It gave me purpose beyond myself, a way to channel my experience into something meaningful. Occasionally, I would check my phone, half expecting a message from Liam or Dani, a sign of remorse, an explanation, or even just closure. But there was only silence. And slowly, I learned to find peace in that silence. Sometimes, silence is the final answer. I no longer wished for their forgiveness or understanding. What mattered most was the forgiveness I gave myself and the life I was creating on my own terms. Love came gently, without fanfare or drama. It was steady and kind, built on mutual respect and honesty. I felt safe to be imperfect, to stumble, to grow alongside someone who saw me not the facade I once wore, but the real me beneath. Trust, I realized, is not just about believing in others but believing in yourself to navigate whatever comes your way. And with that belief, I stepped forward, embracing the unknown with courage and grace. My story isn't just one of betrayal and heartbreak. It's a story of survival, healing, and the quiet power of reclaiming your life. And I am proud to call it my own. Time has a way of softening even the sharpest wounds, and as I moved forward, I found myself embracing new opportunities I never would have considered before. Traveling became a form of therapy, each new city a fresh canvas where I could rewrite my story. I wandered through streets filled with strangers, absorbing cultures, sounds, and colors that rekindled a sense of wonder within me. Through these journeys, I met people from all walks of life, some carrying their own scars, some radiating pure joy. Their stories intertwined with mine, reminding me that pain and healing are universal experiences, threads in the fabric of human existence. Back home, I cultivated hobbies that grounded me: gardening, yoga, and painting. These simple acts of creation and care nurtured my soul, teaching me patience and self-love. Watching a seedling grow into a blooming flower became a metaphor for my own transformation: slow, deliberate, but beautifully inevitable. I also found solace in mindfulness and meditation, learning to sit with discomfort instead of running from it. This practice helped me release the past's grip, allowing me to live fully in the present moment. Relationships now felt less like tests and more like partnerships. I communicated openly, setting boundaries without guilt, and expected honesty in return when trust was broken. I recognized it early and chose to walk away before the pain could take root again. Sometimes loneliness visited, but I no longer feared it. I embraced solitude as a space for reflection and growth rather than emptiness. Looking back, the betrayal that once shattered my world became the catalyst for a life richer in authenticity and resilience. I learned that even the darkest nights give way to dawn, and sometimes, the strongest light comes from within. Years later, I realized how much I had grown, not just in strength but in compassion. The pain I endured had taught me empathy for others facing similar battles. I started mentoring young women, sharing my story not to dwell on the past but to inspire hope and courage. Every now and then, I'd catch a glimpse of Liam or Dani in my mind, but their hold on me had faded into something distant and inconsequential. I no longer felt the need to seek answers or closure from them because I had found it within myself. My new life was not perfect, but it was mine, built on lessons learned and boundaries set. I had discovered a deeper love, the love for myself, which was the foundation for everything else. With that love came freedom, the freedom to choose who I wanted in my life, the freedom to pursue my dreams without hesitation, and the freedom to face the future without fear. I was no longer defined by their betrayal. Instead, I was defined by my resilience, my growth, and my unwavering commitment to live authentically and joyfully. And for the first time in a long time, I felt truly whole.